Why should you attend the Build conference in Cape Town in April this year? That's what I want to answer in this video, and my answer probably won't be what you expect it to be. So on the 26th and 27th of April this year, my team and I are hosting a real estate conference called Build. It is going to be a phenomenal experience, and it is that experience that I want to talk to you about today. Because if I were to be asked, Stephen, why should I make the effort to come to the Build conference? It requires travel to Cape Town if you live outside of Cape Town. And then there's the 2 days on the conference. The conference tickets do cost a little bit of money as well. Why should I go through all of that? And the answer that I'm going to give you is as honest an answer as I can give you, because I could tell you about the speakers that we're going to have. And I could read you the resumes of Brent Gove and Jean Frederick and Rory Dyer and the other speakers that we have. But if I'm honest with you, the real power in an event like this is a lot more intangible. There is an intangible power at big live events. There is something in the way we have been created as human beings that when we gather together physically, not on a Zoom call or a Google meeting or a webinar, when we gather together physically and we are together and we are listening to someone speak to us physically while we're gathered together, there is an intangible power, there is an effect that has on us. There is change that brings, that is learning that creates, that does not happen in any other environment. I don't quite know how to quantify it. I don't quite know how to explain it. All I can tell you is there is almost an invisible energy, a power that exists when a crowd of people gather for a single purpose. There is something that happens in live events. And if those live events have the right atmosphere, the right culture, if the speakers are the right kind of speaker, and the heart and the content and the fellowship between people is good and positive, then those events can be used for remarkable good. We see remarkable change happen in people's lives at events like that. Now, of course, the opposite is true. When you gather human beings together, if there is a negative spirit, a hateful spirit, and the one speaking is speaking words of hatefulness and of anger and revenge, those events can have equally as powerful effect on the negative side of things. There is something about live events that causes change, that causes major decisions to be taken in people's lives. And I want to try to talk through why that is. And I'm going to give you these 3 reasons. So first of all, we do learn when we gather together and we hear various speakers. But we learn in a different way than we do going onto YouTube or getting onto a Google meeting, for example. And I can't quite explain to you why. There is a certain energy, there's a certain receptiveness that we have when we're sitting in a crowd and we can feel the people next to us, and there's the warmth in the room, and you hear people clearing their throat and coughing and laughing at someone's joke, and somebody shuffles, somebody's taking notes next to us. There's a certain winsomeness that environment has that causes an openness to learning. And when I say learning, there's 2 types of things that are happening there. First of all, we can be corrected. Do you know that there's some things that you believe, there's some strategies that you're committed to in your business that probably are not the best way to go about things? You can be corrected. And that'll happen sitting in this auditorium over the 2 days of the Build conference. There's going to be things that you get corrected on. And here's the power of it. When you're sitting in a crowd and you're in this winsome environment and the speaker says something that corrects something that you had been thinking, there is a moment in time where you are receptive to receiving that correction. Far more than you would be that if I marched into your office and said, you're wrong in doing this, you need to correct it, this is what you need to do. There's something in us that doesn't like to be corrected one-on-one. When you're sitting there and you hear a new idea, you are willing to begin to question your current model. And we all need that. I need that. That is a powerful thing that happens at events. So there's correction. But the other thing that happens is new learning. There's a whole bunch of speakers that are going to be speaking at the Build conference. Our international guests who are powerhouses, yes. Rory Dyer, who is another powerhouse in another realm, yes. But many of our top agents, some of whom are doing multiple millions of rands worth of commission every year, are also going to be speaking, and you're going to be learning from them. The second reason I want to give you why these events are so powerful is that they have a unique way of inspiring. I mean, do you know that we all need to be inspired? So inspiration speaks about that inner drive, that inner motivation to do something great again with your life. There is a stirring of one another that happens at events. There is a power of other people to stir you up, to once again believe, to once again have the energy to set goals for yourself, to get going again, that you cannot muster up yourself. There's something about that group community that stirs us up to once again do great things. And I mean, have you not learned that lesson in life in your own experience? That so much of success does not come down to what we know and what we don't know, skills. It comes down to that sense of inner motivation when you wake up in the morning and there's this energy to get 10 times more done than you were when you were feeling low and down. That inspiration, as intangible as it is a huge part of success in life. And it's live events, particularly positive live events, that have a way of changing people's lives, because when they come out of them, they've got a fresh vision, they've got a fresh energy to go and do what they didn't have 2 days before. There is something about a live event that leaves individuals feeling like it is not only possible to achieve something great, but it is possible for me. And I want that to happen to you. And you know, the funny thing about this is you cannot script when that will happen at a 2-day event. And there is something about a 2-day event rather than a single-day conference. When you arrive in your car, you have the afternoon sessions, you go home in the evening. There is something about even traveling in from another city, checking into your hotel the first day of the conference, that evening, speaking over dinner with people who are there, discussing what you've learned, thinking about it, taking notes, waking up the next morning, coming back to the sessions again. There's something about that whole experience that creates an environment where moments of change can happen. And I can't tell you when that'll happen. I can't say to you it's going to be when Brent Gove, one of the top-selling RE/MAX agents of all time, is going to speak, or it's going to be when Gene Frederick, the top Keller Williams recruiter of all time, it's when he's going to speak, or it's when Rory Dyer is going to speak, or it's going to be, I can't tell you that. It might be standing in the queue for a coffee when you get into a conversation with someone you don't know, and it's after a session and they ask you a question and you get into a conversation and all of a sudden they say something strikes you. This is what happens at events. I hope I'm communicating this. This is such a difficult thing to communicate clearly. But you need to put yourself in this environment, and I want to implore you to come and do so. So we've spoken about how learning happens in a unique way at events, how inspiration happens and motivation happens in a unique way at events. And then the third thing is how we build relationships at events. You know, one of the secrets to life is that your happiness and your success in business will come down largely to the quality of your relationships. You've got to put yourself in an environment where you meet new people. Relationships are an incredibly powerful thing in life. You know, 99% of the opportunities that you get in life, both leads for your real estate business and other areas of your life, 99% of those opportunities will come through a relationship. They will come through conversations that you have with people. There is an enormous power in the relationship building that happens with the fellowship of people when we gather together. And again, we can't script when that'll happen, but it's going to happen throughout the 2 days. So please do come along. You're going to learn. You're going to be inspired. You're going to build great new friendships and relationships, and all of those three things in a unique way because of the powerful effect that events like this have. I want to close this little video just by then encouraging you that you have to put yourself in an environment where your miracle can happen, whether it's a miracle of learning some new skill that changes your life, or it's some inspiration that you get, or it's some relationship that you form. The miracle is waiting, but you have to get yourself out of where you're at in the traffic of the miracle. You can't create the miracle. You can't script which of these is going to happen for you and when it's going to happen. But you have a responsibility to get yourself there and say, okay, I am here now. I'm expectant. And now let's see what happens. You have a responsibility here. If you have to travel from the furthest corner of South Africa or even another nation to come in for this Build conference, all of these effects of the live event will be even more powerful for you. And that's one of the secrets of this thing. The more you sacrifice to be there, the more these things work for you. And so I want to encourage you, whatever you have to sacrifice to be at the Build conference, please be there. You can register for the event at our website, BuildAfricaConference.co.za, and you can get more information there on the different ticket price levels available.